Welcome to Badly Written Boy, a reciting of my teenage years and my 20s, now as a 40-something. How do I remember all these things? I wrote it all down in a diary. Badly. Enduring with me on this retrospective, cringeworthy experience is my wife, who has never read my diaries. Okay, we're back.
We are.
When you eventually get off your fucking phone.
Well, you didn't tell me that we were going.
What might we be doing with all of this equipment set
Normally, it takes you fucking 20 minutes of fanning around to get everything up and ready to go.
We'll call it evens.
Oh, thanks. Feel very grateful.
Do you remember where we're up to?
You've been back in England for like a month?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yep, it's May.
It's gonna be May.
It's gonna be May.
Do you even know what the meme is for that?
I know the song.
What's the song?
It's NSYNC.
It is NSYNC. And who says it's gonna be May?
Justin Timberlake.
Smart. Okay.
Yeah.
Well done. You passed.
Good. May the 1st. So just dive right in?
Yeah.
Anything
Well,
else
you haven't really dived right in because you've been abusive towards me.
Yeah.
To start with.
And to my everlasting shame, I knew that was NSYNC.
How is that shameful? I would be proud of that.
This is my book. Sunday, 1st of May. This is my 486th diary entry. In a row.
Why have you counted this?
I don't know, but I have.
You are such a loser.
So, 486th consecutive diary entry.
Boring.
And it's the first time I'm having a difficulty doing so. Why? I guess it feels to me as though I finished one adventure and I'm moving on to the next one. Maybe it's already begun? I tried to call Paul this evening and he eventually got back to me. He has a new mobile number and we organised to meet up tomorrow for a drink. May the 2nd. It was nice and warm today, but as I headed off to the city in the evening, it inevitably became quite wet. Having somehow mastered the bank holiday Monday bus service to Newcastle, it was totally shit. I had begun regretting sitting upstairs on the double-decker. A bunch of plebs were on their way back from the races, which included a pair of disgusting children who persisted running up and down the aisle screaming like crazy hyenas upon finding a carcass. I was glad to alight to the bus and was going to meet up with Paul.
Alight? It's such a wanky word, but please continue.
And alight the bus and was going to meet up with Paul for a few drinks. We met.
Isn't alight when you get on?
Alighting the bus?
That's when you get on, isn't it?
What's the other...
I don't know, but I'm going to say delight.
Alight and delighted. I delighted the bus.
I delighted the
Surely
bus.
delight would be getting on though.
No, I feel like alight is like going on it. It's alighting.
Alight.
I need to Google this.
Okay. What is the opposite of alight?
Well, let's find out what is alighting first. It says to descend from a train, so I assume that's getting off then. So you're right.
I was correct.
I think you were. But let's have a look. What is the opposite of alighting? Oh, it means both.
Oh. So we're both right.
Yeah. So I think alight is the formal version to get on, and alighting is getting off.
Alighting.
According to Google, it is also worth noting that we never use the word alight in everyday context, which means it's a wank word. Official on Google.
In everyday context, then what context would you use it in?
None, because it's
probably
a wanky
formal.
word.
It's too formal, isn't it?
Far too formal. That's why you wouldn't say. You said you get on or get off the bus.
All right, let's call it a wank word then and move on. So I've met up with Paul in town. We met in Lucky's, and he was accompanied by Christina Boyle. Do you remember Christina Boyle?
Was she the German girl that you dated?
No, she was from high school, but I did date her.
Yeah, she was German.
Nah, she's not the German one. It's a different Christina.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Is she the one you went to Hungry Jack's with and held her hand? No, it wasn't Hungry Jack's, because that's Australia.
Burger King.
You went to Burger King with her and held her hand.
You're thinking of Christina Rain.
Oh, it's too difficult. Okay. Too many girlfriends.
So I knew her from high school as well. Paul has long curly hair now, and he is doing a psychology degree at uni. in his first or his second year, I suppose. Chris is still working in the Orange Mobile Shop on Northumberland Street. We all chatted away, staying at Lucky's for several hours. I showed him my photos from Oz, a select few anyway.
Did you print them out? Did you show them pictures? This was like the
Oh
early
God, yeah,
2000s.
would have had to drag photos in.
You took a fucking photo album to a club. Yes, here's my slideshow. Just on the wall of the club. Like, it's not you had a phone to scroll through.
No, I would have had like a physical...
Why are you carrying
Or maybe
that
I
around?
put a backpack.
Yeah, but still.
It's okay to take a backpack into a pub.
Yeah, but it's not like you don't take a backpack into a club filled with photographs. What other paraphernalia do you
I
have in
haven't seen
there?
him for a while. I wanted to show off. Show him like my experiences in life.
So weird. Hey, Mark,
I
do you
wonder
want to
if
go
I
out?
put it to him like, do you want to see photos? Or if I just like,
That's
whoops,
what I mean.
here's
Hey,
some
Mark,
photos.
do you want to go out to a club and have some drinks? Yeah, sure. And when it's sat down, so here's my slideshow of my year in Australia.
I'm going to bore you so much.
I can't believe it.
All right, let's see why I elaborate.
This is why you never pulled women, because they walk past you in a club. I had a fucking photo album out.
I showed them my photos from Oz, a select few anyway. As Paul went to see if Alan had turned up, Chris and I talked about some more things happening recently, splits, previous partners. I felt like I was hinting upon a bit too much gloom of previous months, and she was concerned I was opening up old wounds. She does like me, I can tell. Messing around with her hair, touching me, but Paul picked up on it, and I don't know if he's got a thing for her or not, but I suspect he may. We went to the Goose afterwards, and I tried to get my number out to Chris. Both myself and Paul want me to come out on Saturday too, but I'm broke. Shit. I slept very well last night, but I woke with a headache. I got a text early on of Ben, who wanted to go up to Manor Walks. I went because I needed to send off my bank statements to the student loan company just to prove I'm not doing the dirty on them. Ben and I eventually came to Blockbuster, and then the heavens opened in a bright and noisy storm. He gets free rentals there, so he got about 4 DVDs, including Napoleon Dynamite and Old Boy. When we got back to mine, he watched Napoleon Dynamite, and although I'd already seen it, it seemed funnier this time around, especially seeing the deleted scenes. Then Lank called and wanted to make sure I was ready to play Six-a-side tomorrow at the high school.
Jeez, I gotta get to bed earlier. I'm beginning to lose the first half of days again. I couldn't help myself from getting hyped up about the game tonight, the Six-a-side. I went to the market at Manor Walks this morning and sent my postal vote for the election. Go you Lib Dems.
Liberal
Liberals. Liberal devils.
Liberal devils.
Interesting vote.
Yeah, I used to go for Lib Dems. But they were a bit of a force back then.
Yeah.
Then they merged, had a thing with the Tories, and they disappeared for a bit. But I think they get a bit of a foothold in the election coming up.
To my delight, I received a call from the Mills manager who told me I was invited to a job interview this Friday.
Mills.
What's Mills?
It's a local shop for local people.
Local shop for local people. Things are unfolding quite nicely. See, this is you again. Just this unadulterated optimism when you are the least optimistic person in the world. When you're just like, great, I've got an interview. I'm totally going to get that job. I'll be fine. Don't need to do anything else.
I used to have optimism.
But even in this, you don't have optimism. You have optimism about things that haven't happened, and you don't prepare for the alternative, and that drives me insane.
All right, let's just see how this story evolves.
Well, you obviously know that you got the job, and that's fine. But 100 different occasions, you've just been like, oh yeah, I've got an interview in 3 weeks, and I'll totally get it. So I definitely won't need to just apply for anything else in the meantime.
Nah.
I spread the news of my Mills interview. There's no way I shouldn't get the job.
Yeah, okay, that's a bit too optimistic.
Unless I slot an egg off the manager's head or masturbate a pepperami in front of an OAP customer.
Okay. There's other ways to not get the job.
Yeah. No, this is your optimism again. I'd have to do something so extreme to not get the job.
That's the craziest thing that I can think I could possibly do.
I mean, masturbating a pepperami, I don't know if that is a metaphor for your actual penis or you are talking about just rubbing a pepperami around.
Yeah, I think that would probably lead to a bit of jail time.
I'll save some of that for when I quit the job.
Well, masturbating in Paparami in front of a pensioner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Ian gave me a lift to football this evening and I was really up for it. We were playing these buttheads. Total Chavas from High Pit or something. They were pissed because they couldn't beat us. They couldn't shoot for shit and we drew 0-0.
We flogged them 0-0.
That's what I mean. Like that whole commentary up to then sounded like you absolutely smashed them and you got 0-0. They couldn't shoot for shit. Neither could you because you got no goals.
Did we get any shots in?
No. Because I'm skint, it means I won't be able to get out with my mates. I've got to think of something. That something might just come my way if I'm extra nice to mum. So the fact I got up specifically with the intention of having a go at doing the patio might go some way in loosening the grip on her pounds. Hopefully she might get the picture and reimburse my efforts.
Oh, I don't know how much I've borrowed to date.
That's what I mean. Well, when we got together, you owed about £5,000. So it wasn't a small amount of money.
No.
And your poor mum, you're getting up and going out and she's like, oh, look at him. He really respects me and understands how hard I work and he's trying to help around the house. Whereas you're not. You're just like, I've done that now. Can I have 20 quid?
Yeah. I wonder how I put it to her. Just took out a hand.
I'm hoping we find out. I got a text off Paul wondering if I'll come out tomorrow night to Bulletproof, and I reluctantly had to turn him down until further notice. I told him about the job though. Well, the interview anyway. So hopefully that'll work out and I'll be able to get out a bit more. I didn't notice the cold when I was busy lifting the patio slabs this morning. Each slab's underside revealed a whole host of creatures flourishing in the dampness. Snails, slugs, and slaters, you name it, it was there. All the slabs now removed must be clean. Then I have to put a new layer of sand and pebbles to make a perfectly flat surface to then relay the patio pavers. Did your mother ask for this to be done? Can you remember? Because I thought you were just going out to clean them.
No, I think we had a discussion. She wanted to get new ones put down and the old ones chucked away.
The clouds came over and I packed up at lunchtime, but I'd had enough for one day. I'd really earned lunch for once. Mum made toasties. Then I played on Champ all afternoon.
First mention it of the month.
So I reckon you probably didn't get up till 10. And then by the time you actually got out there, it was probably 11.
So I probably did an hour's
Probably,
worth.
I reckon. And you'll probably leave it undone now for like a week. So like all of the sand that you put down.
I remember, I don't know if I make a note of this, but I definitely remember losing my shit at how much hard graft it was and just chucking some pavers around. So I might, that might be a spoiler, but we'll see what I say.
Then I played Champ all afternoon and went marginally crazy in the empty house once Mum had gone to work. You masturbated on the sofa. This evening I watched AZ versus Sporting Lisbon. I don't need to speculate. That's exactly what you did.
Went a bit crazy. I mean,
you went marginally crazy. You definitely masturbated on the sofa.
Marginally crazy. Medium pace masturbation.
This evening I watched AZ versus Sporting Lisbon, Lisbon being Newcastle's conquerors in the UEFA Cup comp. It was a good game, but I missed the second half because I had to tape ER for Mum. Oh my God, the days of taping things.
How did ER go? What was the theme tune for that?
I don't know, I've got the Crystal Maze in my head.
That's exactly what came into my head. We can't even put it on. Could be copyrighted.
Yeah. I've got the BBC News thing in my head.
It took me ages to get up this morning. My job interview wasn't until 1, so I had plenty of time to lay about. I was so tired because I stayed up last night.
You didn't get up and prep or
No.
anything like that?
No, it's pretty just a cruisy interview. I didn't know how smart I should dress for the interview, so I just went as smart as I could. Well, like a suit or something.
You definitely wore jeans.
I didn't feel it was overly formal once I actually got to Mills. I get the impression the manager runs a tight ship. The interview went fine. I just hate the part when they ask where you'd like to see yourself in 3 years' time. A classic interview question.
Classic interview question.
They're not going to give me the job if I'm going to say sack it in after 3 months. So I just said on that occasion that I was undecided on which career path I'll be taking, which is all bullshit really, but at least I'm not giving him an outright lie. This afternoon, I continued laying the foundations for the patio, which mainly entailed deturfing and derooting the soil bed so I can make way for everything else.
Oh, you're doing work the next day as well. I'm impressed.
2 days straight, hard labour. My efforts on the patio have not paid off. for any cash reimbursements from Mum.
Because I'm assuming you're getting free food and board.
Obviously, I don't
Yes.
have any money.
No, so she shouldn't have to pay you for doing these small jobs.
She left
This is you paying your mum back, not the other way
I know,
around.
but she still left a fiver on the bench for me. She left a note saying I should get something nice to drink for the curry quiz night at Parkside Middle School. I sacked that idea in when Lank rang, seeing if I wanted to play a game of footy. I jumped on board with that idea, and Graham gave me a lift to this new venue at North Quays, the JJB Soccer Dome. We played some of Lank's friends from his work. It was a good game, and I thumped a few in. One shot was so powerful it sounded like I broke the ball. I couldn't be bothered doing any more of relaying the patio, initially anyway. But then I thought about it, and the longer I left it, the more it pissed Mum off. So I just got on with it. I'll still have to do it in the end. Regardless, in the brief sunny spell we were blessed with this afternoon, I pedalled up to Hairside for a traditional kickabout on the field with Humble and Lank. Chubb was supposed to play as well, but he must have been distracted by ice cream van.
That is mean.
Or some lobster and waffles. We used to joke that that's what he ate every night because he was from a nice estate.
That's hilarious.
Graham and Wally turned up a bit later, but by that stage we'd discontinued playing and had begun impressions of the weird footballing techniques our friends have. Further evidence to suggest we have too much spare time on our hands. And also we had a short-lived competition to see how high we could kick the ball. The sophistication of masculine socialising.
I did little else today than playing Champ.
Oh no, the Champ entry, is it?
But I won't go into the details of the 3+ hour stint on that because it makes awful reading.
Oh, thank God.
I'll talk about how selfish my cat is for a while. Oliver brought another dead bird to the back door. It wouldn't have pissed me off so much had I not discovered it mere minutes before my lunch. Then he starts begging for affection, which he gets plenty of, and it was just pissing me off. That poor fucking cat brought you a gift that he killed with his bare hands. He hunted and killed it himself. What have you ever done with your bare hands and brought home? You can't even lay the fucking patio.
Oh, that's my contribution. I am laying the patio.
I did have brief aspirations of meeting up with Paul and Alan in Toon, but that wasn't until 8, and Sunday bus timetable put me off. I was instead lured into another game of footy at the JJB Soccer Dome. It sounds like...
Welcome to the Soccer Dome.
I'm really proud of you putting that into song. For free again, Martin Earl played, having recently got back from a 4-month world tour, which was so much more comprehensive than my recent trip to Australia. It makes me cringe with envy just to think about it. The game itself was okay. My grazed leg got re-grazed after my brief spell in nets, more specifically after one flying save. My bouts were hopeless, almost beyond repair, which caused me feet pain in the soles. My boots were hopeless.
It sounds pretty badly written.
It did me good to get out for the exercise, though. I was becoming depressed over my status. Stagnant. My lack of a career bothers me, and how, even after getting a degree, a professional position in landscape architecture still seems so difficult to grasp. Hang on. Before you left for Australia, you were supposed to send your CV over before you left Australia.
Zero effort has been put into applying for anything anywhere.
I know.
I haven't even been to any companies in
Newcastle. You've been back for 2 months. And Anita had said, we need somebody and we need a graduate in. And you were like, oh, there's no point doing it before I leave. I'll just do it when I get back to
It seems to have completely disappeared.
And now you're complaining about not having a career in landscape architecture when you've applied for one job at the fucking mill.
Mills.
Oh, apologies.
It's not a mill.
Apologies.
They're not grinding down wheat.
Apologies. Well, my local shopping centre was called the Mill Gate. So that was one singular mill.
Was it an actual mill, though?
There may have been a mill there years ago.
So neither that was a mill, nor the mills that I was at.
I was keenly anticipating a call back from Mills today, but it never came. It played on my mind a bit too, maybe I hadn't got the position and they were just being pricks by not calling
Who cares?
me back.
It's a casual job in a convenience store.
You care. You need fucking money.
I need a career.
You do need a career.
In retail.
Ben was in a psychotic I've been in the dark in my room all day mood, and it was weird. He kept strumming on his guitar, his hippie acoustic one, with flower stickers all over it, and singing dodgy songs. I got bored and went home for dinner. I got Mum to whip it up fast too, because Ian called and wanted to know if I was available for footy tonight. It was such a twat. Your mum has been working all day, and you get home from fanning around. You're like, Mum, I need my dinner quickly because I need to go out.
Arguably doing even less than I was doing when I was in Brisbane.
I agree.
So far.
I agree.
Although now I've done the patio. That's something.
Mate, you've been there for like 2 months, and you only did that because you wanted money out your mum.
True.
You didn't do that out of the goodness of your heart.
Irrespective of the money side of things, something that I have done.
Because you wanted to get paid for it. It doesn't count. It's not something that you thought, oh, I need to do something to help my mum out, so I'm going to go out and do it. No, you were like, shit, I really need £100. I know what. I'll guilt my mum into giving me money by going out and doing a job that I promised her I would do anyway.
Yeah, all right.
Yes, thank you. Here's a team in a league at Meadowell, a notorious part of North Tyneside, renowned for its localised thuggery.
This is grotty. I remember playing this game. It's horrible.
Ian had the game billed as a painful one, claiming the team was the hardest in the league. That played on my mind too. And I had 3 shits before I got picked. Got in your head.
Yeah, this shits.
Matters were made worse when Ian arrived late and announced we had no substitutions. Then when we got there, I saw that the pitch type was hard, sandy AstroTurf. The ball runs very fast on this surface. It also happens to be terrible for my ankles. You sound like a 70-year-old man.
This sounds like a horrible setup, though.
The game turned out to be a disaster. We got flogged 8-0 and we all played shit. But to be honest, only one of their 6 was in any obvious need of psychic evaluation. You are just so harsh. Michael went off in a huff after the game. I thought I might call him later on to see if he's okay, but I didn't.
Today was weird. Weird things happened. Weird things I'm doing. I feel weird. I don't even know where I'm going. I dragged out all this stuff from under my bed. Old letters, comics, toys. It made me feel distinctly average. Is this it? My God, I'm 22 and this is all I've done. I feel so insignificant. I'm a quarter over already.
I'm a quarter over.
It seems like a million years since I swam at all, and those races at those races in swimming. I can't believe or even recall achieving what I have. How the hell did I get a degree? Good question. I went to Manor Walks this morning. I was looking for a photo album for my Australian shots. I duly found an album. I liked it, Wilco's, and as soon as I got back, I filled some of it. Then I remembered this thing I wanted to do. To perfect my 2004 diary, I went to gather some photos of every person possible, which I mentioned over the course of that year. The most tricky people to find were pictures of former uni tutors and lecturers. Jesus, why am I collecting all these pictures? And co-op staff members. On the subject of convenience stores, guess who got back to me today? That's right, Paul from Mills.
Yeah.
He wants to take me on.
We're gonna fight. I'm gonna take you on, bitch.
Yeah, we're gonna be my new understudy. We're gonna build a convenience store empire. I got the call today from Lank letting me know what time the game was tonight and he would pick me up. After the 8-0 flogging on Monday, I was ready to put a better performance on home turf. I was pumped up for the game, and when Lank arrived, he slotted on Black Betty by Ram Jam on the way there. The game at the high school turned out to be a cup game. It was against an older team compared to the one we played last weekend. We definitely had the legs for them. Wally scored twice and Humble got 1 and we won 3-0. Buoyant after the game, Lank suggested a night out on the Toon. And I hesitantly obliged, but knew some parental grovelling would be in order to fund such a trip. Oh, guess what happens next? Mum did her part and Lank once again took his car, so I didn't have to pay for transport. It was late on when we arrived with Wally and Simpson. Simpson insisted he knew some girls at the Goose, so we went there first. These girls were friends of Skid's girlfriend. He himself was supposed to be there, but his sister just went into labour. It was a flamboyant bunch of girls. They were all dressed up as Playboy bunnies. Hello. But
Excuse me, your wife.
Oh, no.
Did you say hello in there, or are you saying hello as 41-year-old Mark?
It's an old art. This does not get any better.
Go on.
They were dressed up as Playboy bunnies, but short and plump as opposed to tall and slender.
Oh my God, Mark. Because you are an Adonis that spends all of your time in the gym taking care of yourself.
I was in all right condition at that point in time. Still, we all seemed to hang out for most of the night, and we headed to Mood in the Gate. We danced the night away with bunny girls to some really cheesy music. It's nice to be back on the scene.
I didn't drink much last night, but I still felt a bit under the weather this morning. I continued the laying of the patio foundations. I feel like you are not qualified to do this at all.
Just individually placing on one pebble at a time and do so much work.
Seems like a lot. I emptied the remaining bags of gravel and took to the laborious process of levelling it with nothing but a flat piece of concrete and a keen eye. After that back-breaking task was complete, I chipped in with a bit of the old weeding, which became quite therapeutic. Not therapeutic. Therapeutic. After a while, and then mildly obsessive once I realised that among the lush green grass, dandelions and daisies were sprouting out left, right and centre. After 2 Asda bags of the bastards, I retreated indoors once again. I admired the collage I had completed yesterday of my university companions.
And tutors.
It's time for a montage. I was such a loser. But I became frustrated when I could not locate my power lead for my printer, which, if you'll remember, I had intended on using to print out the pictures for my 2004 diary. I gave up and played on Champ instead.
Good choice.
Good choice.
Less stressful.
Mum eventually arrived home and I told her to ring Michelle. She had called me earlier and is now facing the music and dance of not doing enough uni work.
Kettle, pot, black.
But you don't say facing the music and dance. You just say now he's facing the music. You're thinking of the song, Let's Face the Music and Dance. It's not the same. She is now facing the music and dance of not doing enough work. She must now either quit or...
Is that not the original saying, though? Face the music and dance? Is that not where the saying came from?
No, you've just got to face the music.
Face the music and dance?
No, it's not. Face the music just means, like, you got to face up to whatever the issue is. That's what the saying is. And then the song is like...
No, I know, but I thought that's maybe where the saying came from.
No. The dance bit is just, you just got to do face up to it and then just get on with it.
Do it.
The house was invaded by builders today. Mike and his clan were meant to be here yesterday, but for some reason rocked up now instead. I didn't really care. I wanted as little to do with them as possible, so I closed myself in my room and... What did you do?
Masturbate?
No.
Championship manager?
Championship manager.
Oh, yeah.
My undiverse habits were disturbed when Mike pointed out that a crack was apparent in the plug hole of the new shower and would consequently need replacing. I located the receipt for the basin and gave it to Mark. Whether or not it was replaced, I don't know, but they made plenty of noise throughout the day. When I relocated the computer downstairs, I was regularly greeted by one of the trio, who turned out to be a labourer. Such a twat. I'm so glad I didn't know you.
I've ripped on a lot of people
just constantly.
This month. The bunny girls.
Constantly.
Who else? I'm sure I ripped on someone else as well.
You said that the people...
The chavs, the playing.
Yeah, there was only one person that had, like, obvious psychotic tendencies.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
And you said your friend was eating lobster and waffles. Or distracted by an ice cream van.
Yeah, I'm an
goodness.
arsehole. I know that.
I don't know his name, but his labour appeared to have less to do with the installation of the new shower unit and more to do with the addition of hot water to tea bags. Maybe he's an apprentice trying to learn a skill. Oh my God. I won't assume cups were involved in the latter process because he wasn't a bright man. How?
I should just leave him alone. Let him do his thing.
But on the other hand, I heard no heat-induced screams. The 52-year-old rocker whose age was perhaps comparable to his IQ. This is awful. There is so much abuse on that page.
Yep. I felt like such a tool today. Mum bought the final batch.
Excuse me.
gravel to the foundations for the patio, and in her books that means I have to get it done ASAP. I've drawn it out for at least a week.
I was going to say, it's been several days.
So I'm not exactly doing a great job of labouring myself.
But you still managed to be abusive to the people that actually do this for a whole job.
I was enjoying my morning and early afternoon stint on Champ, but I felt as though I should get out there.
Every day.
But I felt as though I should get out there and make an effort. But nah. I did get out there at one point, but almost instantly felt like I wasn't up for the task, physically or mentally. I felt as though I wasn't in control of me. I chucked around anything that was in my reach. Fuck this, fuck that, rah, hell. Well, today was a sorry state of affairs. I was just standing by the banister listening to Mum cry. She just had this big argument over the phone with Michelle. She was probably asking Mum for more money to piss away on cigarettes and alcohol and whatever else a uni student needs to support life in the semi-independent lane. This sounds a little familiar. Mum demanded that she comes home. In the meantime, I've been doing very little. Actually, I didn't even leave the house today.
Well, the reality of today was a little more than confinement to the house. Subconsciously, I was being inundated with messages and career prospects. Subconsciously. Pew, 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 pew.
They're all coming to me.
Firstly, there was a program on this morning about a fat American rapper trying to snare the cream of the undiscovered English MC rap R&B talent.
Why do I care about that?
Because you're saying that this is your subconscious, like, career messages about your career prospects.
As if I'm going to become a rapper.
Yes. Later on a different program, Fifth Gear, I think, there was a competition for young engineering students to submit new designs to the Renault F1 team in a bid to improve the current designs. A winner would be taken on board.
Could it be
Totally
me?
something you could do. You would just draw like a race car with like pew pew coming out the back of it.
These lines are pretty sharp right here.
Have you tried using Go Faster stripes? Instead of 2, let's add 3.
Oh, you hide.
What I took in from these things is that tremendous opportunities are around, but from those examples, I am partially discouraged. Do you really have to be of an elite and have qualifications to get breaks?
Yes.
You do have a qualification. Obviously, we can't all win competitions just to get to where we want to be. So I then went job hunting on the internet. Fucking finally. I went to the landscape website and there was little there, so I began scanning through the websites of Yorkshire-based landscape architects.
Yorkshire.
There are many around, and I should start prospective emailing to see if firms are looking for any landscape graduates.
And I've waited this long?
At least, like, I mean, you talking about doing it. I don't know when this is going to happen. That's my next thing. While there was no immediate success on that plan,
Let's see if there's any action.
you didn't email, I did watch a program this evening about post-playing career footballers. It was hosted by Alan Hansen, and it really struck a chord with me. I saw that footballers are more often than not skilled in just that, and only that. In their mid to late 30s, when their lives become less glamorous, they have all this extra time. One ex-player, Neil Webb, put it quite well. He'd drop his kids off at school, and by 8:30, he'd be wondering what to do with the rest of his day. Sometimes I just go back to bed. That's like your fucking dream.
Sometimes I play Championship Manager.
Gary Lineker maintained that success post-football depends on one's personal drive for success. So back in my court, I guess, it's a case of finding that personal drive. I was out in the garden this afternoon, ruining my ongoing commitment to completing the patio. It's still not done.
It's still going.
Mum assured me that the pavers weren't fucking bastards, being the inanimate objects they are, but I continue to hiss my wrath. I bet she was just like pissed off now that she'd asked you to do this, because I'm sure you were making an absolute dog's breakfast of it.
Oh, yeah.
And just being like an angry fuck the whole time, and you probably just made her life so much harder.
Of course.
Outside and inside the house. I insisted we should chisel, spelt Chizzle.
Cheers. Chisel.
That is the best way to spell chisel.
Chisel.
I love it.
That could be my rapping name for when I become a professional rapper.
MC Chisel. I insisted we should chisel away the remnants of this. Oh my, you meant to say remnants. You spelled remnants. REMENENCE. Remnants. So we're going to chisel the remnants of the cement that clinged, not clung, clinged to the bottom of the existing pavers in order to make everything level once we relaid it all. It was a slow process initially, but we received an absolute godsend in the form of a breaker. The builder's nephew, who is currently working on the bathroom, saw our troubles and let us borrow his power tool. The breaker was very satisfying. It must have quartered the time we had spent with the hammer and chisel. Pieces of cement were sent flying all over the place. Lank called to let me know the game is at 8 tomorrow. I said I wasn't sure if I'd be back in time, having found out I'm off to Edinburgh tomorrow. Mum, however, ensured we would be. We were going up for Netta's 82nd.
Today was certainly a day of measure. What does that even mean?
No idea.
Highs and lows. Tolerance of some things, but not of others. I got up pretty early so Mum and I could pick up Granny and head up to Edinburgh. We got up there in decent time, but not without our share of traffic. Eventually, we got to the nursing home in Portobello and found Netta in the dining room area, looking more frail than before.
That's sad.
She possibly recognised Mum and Granny, but I'm pretty sure she hadn't a clue who I was. I anticipated this. I mean, she thought I was Melvin last time. Now, however, it is difficult to understand what little she can remember because her deteriorating coordination affects her speech.
No.
And mine reading this diary.
Clearly.
Netta is now 83, not 82, as I had understood. Mum helped her open her presents, but didn't take kindly to one instant when Mum tried to wipe her chin. She reacted violently. After the prezzies, I showed her some pictures of the visit to the zoo in Australia.
Here's my photo album. more okay here, not in a club.
Yeah, better suited here.
Yeah.
I understand she doesn't know who I am. I can't help that. But she was happy and smiling when I showed her the photos. Oh, okay, I didn't see the full stop. Alzheimer's. I have not spelled Alzheimer's right there. How do you spell Alzheimer's? Oh, ALZYMER.
Why?
Alzheimer's is a terrible thing. And as Antonetta drifted into sleep, you can't help but question which state is more peaceful. Mum was on an early shift, so I was just left to my own devices. This mainly entailed internet searches for landscape firms in the region of Sheffield.
That's good.
Who seemed to be interested in my unmatured skills. Fortunately, Sheffield doesn't happen to be in the middle of nowhere. It's centred enough in the country to gain access to Manchester or possibly Leeds, but certainly no further than those cities. Ideally, I'd have a car at this point, but of course it depends on how soon I can get the job at Mills. My references still haven't come back from the co-op yet, and my patience has worn thin, so I'll give old Roger a ring tomorrow. I was quite pleased with my progress looking for firms. I sent away my CV to 3, 2 in Sheffield and 1 in Manchester. I didn't do much else today. I went to the shops with Mum, and when she finished work, I went for a jog before dinner. Yeah, this is a constructive day. I had a brief glimpse of a book I got from Edinburgh yesterday, The World's Worst Cars. It proved quite funny. I was instantly drawn to the segment about the DeLorean, which, despite its fame in Back to the Future, was unreliable and had a poor reputation for safety, as it had cabin fires. The new Star Wars was out on general release in the cinemas today. A must-see.
A must-see. Nobody cares.
No one cares about Star Wars.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't launch into today with any intention of being more busy than usual, but that was the way it turned out. I began glancing through my backlog of unread landscape magazines, and I found the article featuring kind of a movement. One of the key bodies in this was called Slope Solutions, sites left over after planning. And as that would suggest, it concerns disused spaces and the potential for use they provide. I enjoyed the article. I visited the website and I emailed the founder, a German woman called Katharina. and the Landscape magazine praising these efforts. You are such a loser. Dear Landscape magazine, I read with joy your article titled
Can I stick my tongue at your bumhole?
Who reads an article and then immediately jumps on to commend the publication?
Me, that's who.
Dear Landscape magazine, I recently read with vigour your article on slope landscapes. Following that, I masturbated profusely. Was my joy so high? Kindest regards, Mark Jackson, landscape architect student without a job.
No, I did something constructive for the first time in a long time, and now I feel like I have to act on it.
It's so I emailed the founder and the Landscape magazine praising these efforts.
Praise thee.
Oh my God. I told them a story of one of my modules at uni in which we explored these disused spaces and how we went about provoking an interest. I hope someone replies. I'd love to know more about it.
Sloop.
Dear Landscape magazine. It's like when you wrote a letter to like the advertiser in Australia about how difficult you'd found like getting a job. And you're just like, they will read this with such interest. It's such an interesting story. Such a biopic.
At least it's doing something that doesn't involve like insulting someone else.
It's so ridiculous though. So ridiculous. When I checked my email, I found 2 replies to my hunt for landscape work. 2 Huddersfield-based firms requested my CV, but one suggested I reply in due course, indicating to me that I don't just go and send them a half-hearted CV. I need some quality, but I don't know how to get that over to another party.
It must have been so shit.
Probably. I am not confident of my own portfolio, and if that is such an important gauge of my abilities, then it is also my Achilles heel. Do you think you spelt that right?
No.
Out of the 2 words, Achilles and heel, which one do you think you spelt correctly?
Heel?
No, Mark. You managed to spell Achilles correctly, and you spelt heel incorrectly.
Okay. How does one spell heel?
Well, you should spell heel, H-E-E-L. You spelt heel, H-E-A-L.
Heel. Heel my Achilles heel. Which is bad spelling.
Matt 40 has been hunted for Sheffield houses already, which is a good thing. I thought he might leave that down to me, but it seems as though he's removed the Pampers. You are so mean to these people who are supposedly your friends.
We know this.
Actually, that's a little unfair. It's good he's got the ball rolling because you fucking haven't.
I've been too busy like distributing CVs,
Writing emails to the Landscape magazine.
getting
Landscape magazine.
getting jobs in mills,
Blah, blah, blah.
scoring goals.
Dear Landscape magazine, I'm a very interesting man with lots of things to say.
That I just read and am now plagiarizing. I forget what day it is so easily. At one point today, I thought it was Tuesday.
But what day is it?
Sunday. It maybe had something to do with sleeping too much. I'm sure I slept for 10 hours last night. For no apparent reason, I drank loads of water. I'm aware of the cleansing effect it's supposed to have. Wow. How insightful. I had a salad for lunch too. I wasn't trying to be a health buff by any means.
With the one salad you've eaten in the entire year.
I mean, I had Kit Kats and other crap. But my salad caused me to expel smelly clouds of guff. I've actually written that.
Guff to me is cum though, it's not farts.
So farting cum. What the hell am I saying next? If the government wants us to eat more healthily...
Oh my God, the government.
Blame the
Stay away from
government.
me, government. You can't keep me down with the patriarchy. Like, what the fuck? You're talking about salad. What is wrong with you?
doesn't get any better. If the government wants us to eat more healthily, they should take the fart out of vegetables.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know it's not. I think I'm going crazy. I also played footy this evening up at Hairside. Humble and Lanka Graham also played. There was talk of a last-minute holiday, a one-week break somewhere sunny at the beginning of August. It might just be a pipe dream right now, being that I don't have a job or any income. I'd pretty much given up hope of Paul from Mel's getting back to me. The chances of him getting a reference from Co-op didn't seem likely until later on today. When I was halfway home, I looked at my mobile to find a missed call from Paul. I called him back once I got home, and I'm due for an induction at Mills on Wednesday at 12. A break at last. I can't even remember the last time I got one. I sat myself down, watched some of the Chelsea Flower Show, read the Telegraph, and tried to boost my knowledge. Then, for some bizarre reason, I cut some of my fringe off.
What is wrong with you?
Watch TV show, read the newspaper, get some fringe. I now look like Spock's half-brother from the side on, but without the pointy ears. The rest of my hair is so shaggy, it looks ridiculous. Still, it's growing on me already. So I haven't done anything else to it. Just going to look weird.
Some pretty bad stuff happened today. It was all uneventful, however, until Granny rang me to tell me Ollie was not well again. She was asking for Mum's contact number. Mum brought the cat home from the vets after he got some injection to bring his temperature down a bit. He was most lethargic as he exited his transport kennel and wandered to the shelter of the dining room table. Mum took Granny home, who'd accompanied the cat to the vet. In the meantime, I deserted the cat to go out and get the Chronicle. I was so preoccupied with the sport on the back pages, I initially failed to realise a former classmate of mine had been convicted. The front page read, "Killer driver gets 5 years." Who I'd known for several years while at Chapel Park Middle School, knocked a 7-year-old boy down. He was driving 20 miles an hour over the limit, recklessly, in an unroadworthy BMW. Oh yeah, the boy had cystic fibrosis, making a real figure of hatred. Did he die?
The kid?
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh yeah, I think the title is Killer, yeah.
I think he did time for that.
The parents of the boy claim the sentence was too lenient. Might count himself lucky in that sense, but his life must have really caved in with something like that on his conscience. I read on the net he'd hoped to become a football coach for young boys. That moment of madness has cost big, but I have to say, from the time I knew him, he wasn't a bad guy. If I knew where he was being imprisoned, you haven't spoken to this guy in years, you'd probably visit him.
Why not?
Because why would you?
Well, I think that's something that might have been nice for him,
He's just killed a 5-year-old boy.
Yeah, but, you've got to support some people.
You can go in and take your photo welfare.
I've got some pictures from Australia you'd love to see.
I thought it'd be nice for you because you're bored in here. You see this one.
See how much of a great time I'm having and you aren't having.
Oh, God. You are so
man.
weird. I just looked in the old 96 diary and found the old class photo with him standing right next to me. His details on Friends Reunited had been removed after it was alleged he bragged about his new BMW on there. You've got a visitor. Who the fuck's going to see me? Who the fuck are you? I have a photo of him. I thought you'd like to see me. After 10 years, we've never spoken. It's so weird. It's so weird. Today was quite eventful.
I probably thought it was really noble.
You did. That's what it sounds like.
It's not for him, it's for my fucking ego.
That's exactly right. I think it'd be nice if I went and visited. He didn't care about it. Anyway. Today was quite eventful. Ollie is still unwell. High temperatures and lack of intake of food and water have us concerned. We took him to the vet again. I carried him in his kennel, which took a great deal of persuasion for him to get into, up to the village veterinary. I got a few jabs and he's to remain indoors while he recovers. There are fears he may have cat AIDS. I chilled out until I had to leave for work. I began at 12 at Mills. First day. Paul got me to read through all this store policy mumbo jumbo before putting me on the till, where I restocked in between customers. I think besides Paul and one other guy, all the other employees are women. Some of them are lookers. Some of them look always, and one of them particularly dim. Again, You
More insulting.
so mean. This was Suzanne. She showed me the working of the till. This was her equivalent of a PhD, may I add. Still, I remained patient and acted the fool occasionally to burn time. You are such a twat.
I just think, like, because I've got a degree, I'm, like, above it.
You do. You completely
Massively
do.
above
And you're
it.
like, yes, I worked at the co-op for 2 years, thank you. I think I know what a till is. This poor woman is just trying to help you do this new job that you've got. This one girl, the one who I'd remarked upon when I first asked for an application form, was most keen for us to be introduced. I still didn't catch her name. I must have been in one of those masculine stupors. Most notably observed in males during the Baywatch opening sequences in the 90s.
Must have had my pepperami in my hands. Today was such a hassle. Not only did I have to get up at 5:20 for work, but I also had
In
to
the
help...
morning?
Yeah, AM.
Very early.
But I also had to help Mum find wallpaper for the redecoration of the shower room. There wasn't really any good-looking co-workers at Mills today, all several years beyond myself. Leanne must have been about 26 and looks okay, but she wears 20 layers of makeup to disguise the fact her lower jaw bears resemblance to that of a deep trench fish.
You are such a fuck. That is awful. And look at your lower jaw now.
Suzanne, the dimwit I mentioned previously, was also on this morning. She's the kind of Burke who thinks the mirror is someone else.
You are awful.
Audrey, the elder, took me through the newspaper procedure, which involves rotation of the magazines. I think we stock every porn mag we legally can. And I looked at every single one.
I was going to say, you're like, do the magazines need rotating again? I'll go do that right now.
There's plenty of rotation going on. We also managed to stick 3 magazines on horses, on 2 on minis, 2 on Barney the dinosaur, and I'm guesstimating around 6 on caravans. I got through my shift unscathed. Leanne rang later to tell me I'm working 2 till 8 tomorrow instead of 6 till 12. At least I'll be able to sleep in. I managed to get a Sunday off so I can go out for Jamie's birthday on Saturday night. I only appreciated my change in shift when I woke up naturally as opposed to bleary-eyed shock. I've done 1 early shift. As opposed to being bleary-eyed and in shock. I took it easy this morning, but I was frustrated by the poor Sky TV signal. First world problems. I turned my attention to the internet where I received a reply from Kate Spedding. She too knew about and claims to live close to where it occurred. Some flowers lie there. Kate also told me there's a petition by locals. The petition was for life imprisonment. She also tells me it was on course for 10 years, but his case was relatively successful and he got 5 years instead. I think he only served 4 in the end. I say only, it must have been horrible. I watched some of Twister after that and put some new images on my CV.
Images?
Not from my own work, I'm sure.
Probably not.
I figured it's not going to happen unless I improve things where I can. Anything I can improve on to gain a firm's attention should be done. I began work at Mills at 2, initially just on the tills. I met the other guy that works there. I think he's called Ashley, but I only overheard that from Paul. Even when I introduced myself, he just said hi and added nothing else. Doesn't appear to have a mouth in his head. Oh, well.
You know what I'm sick of? Feeding Ollie his antibiotics for his chest infection. It's animal cruelty, I swear. We have to wrap him up in a towel and force him to swallow his dose by holding his mouth closed. He chokes, splutters and drools, and what's worse is we don't even know if it's doing him a great deal of good. He's been lying under the table in the lounge and dining area for about 5 days. I had to start work at 8, which wasn't too bad. It's quite busy on a Saturday morning. Amongst the people I saw there today was Billy Johnson from next door. He gave me some stick about not having finished the patio yet, as if Mum had been whining to him like she had to granny.
Well, he's a builder.
Definitely,
so he was probably watching from his house, creasing himself with laughter.
I wasn't on the tills much, which was a nice change. This is like your second shift. And you're like, oh, you know, it's just getting too much just being on the tills like all the time for that 1 4-hour shift that I had. This evening, we went to Alan's 60th, a Kaylee, a dance.
Is that
No, it's called a Kaylee, but you've just spelt it wrong. But you've at least like put it in like brackets and got a question mark next to it, so you've recognised that you spelt it incorrectly.
Okay.
So I forgive that one.
More growth.
So much growth. We didn't dance, but we spoke with Alan, Mark, and Alan's bitch wife for a bit.
I've got literally no reason to call her that.
Before leaving through a preordained plan Mum had hatched where Phil would call, pretending he was someone from her work, demanding she was needed now. That's terrible.
It's good tactics.
Hello. Oh, yes. Oh, it's you from work, Philip. Yes. Oh, I must leave now. I have no choice. Like, what the fuck? Like,
there's an emergency.
Why did she actually get Phil to call her? Like, this is so extra. I got dropped off in town and met with the lads in Tiger for Jamie's 22nd. I'd never been to that club, which was free to get into. Myself, Humble, Lank and Elsden minced around, drinking, while Jamie, Simpson and Martin made the effort to chase the muff around. I was content with it all, yes, because you would be so successful chasing the muff.
I probably did some flirtatious dancing from a distance.
Probably, the distance. I might pitch... Oh, I met Phil in there as well. He insists me, him and Rich meet up next week. God, today was shit. I laid some more patio pavers. Why is it not?
I did one patio paver at a time.
I think you are. And then it's raining and fucking up what you've done previously. Suzanne did my head in with her relentless moronic squawking. If there is something to be said, she'll say it. You'll have to bear in mind she only draws on a vocabulary of around 10 words, and you just want to beat her with a giant fly swat when she uses any of them. She's one of those early humans that hasn't been lucky enough to have evolved yet.
That's a good one.
One thing is you are very creative.
With the insults, yeah.
My shift seemed to go on forever and I was plagued with chavas to no end. My back began to ache because it was non-stop for 7 of the 7.5 hours I was there. 2 staff for the whole of Mills is an absolute joke. The queues were massive. The only highlight came when a 7-foot man passed through the shop. I asked him if I could stand next to him.
That's such a dick thing to do.
Wow.
Oh, you're tall. You'll never know what I'm going to say next. Can I stand next to you?
What have you even done? You just stand next to him and be like,
whoop. There you are.
like what? What are you doing?
It's just like...
Can you please reach that thing off the shelf?
Wow.
At the end of the shift, it took 20 minutes to close down the place and I didn't get back till 11. Mum tells me Ollie is in intensive care at great expense. He had blood tests and he doesn't have cat AIDS or leukemia. He's got critical bacterial infections in the cavity between his ribs and his lungs. He might die, but I can take something from the fact that the antibiotics Mum and I have been force-feeding him may have just kept him alive.
Poor Ollie. Mum woke me up at 6 before she went to work to let me know that Ollie had died.
Oh, R.I.P. Ollie.
I know. The toxicity of the infection finally overcame him. I slept for another hour reluctantly and went to work. For the first few hours...
I can't believe you just went back to sleep. All right then, thanks Mum. Night. And just rolled over and went back to sleep.
It wasn't quite as busy as yesterday, thankfully. When 4 o'clock eventually came, I went straight home and Mum and I headed over to Granny's. Mum had earlier taken Ollie's body from the vet to Granny's where he was to be buried, but she had to return to work. We decided to do the deed before we settled down for dinner. Ollie was down in the basement, wrapped up in towel, motionless, cold, and resting. Mum and I each held him one last time. This was horrible, by the way. He was withdrawn, curled up, and stiff. It was overwhelming just cradling him in that state. We took him to the back of the garden where the raspberries grew. Granny had already dug part of a grave for him, and I completed the task. Down he went, safely wrapped in newspaper. Then we pushed the first bit of earth back over and bid Ollie farewell. Granny put his favourite plant above him, which was symbolic. I can't remember the name of it, but Ollie used to go crazy rolling around on it in the foliage. It didn't seem so long ago Ollie was climbing up the centre of the Christmas tree as a kitten up Baldwin Avenue. I've been worried for years a family member would be leaving us. I guess I wasn't quite expecting the family pets to go. Rest in peace, Ollie.
No, that's nice.
It was another early one down at Mills again. Only myself and Audrey began at the opening time of 6. Audrey is very much past it.
You're so mean.
You have expired. But I get the impression she may have been capable of great things. Okay, this is really, really bad. Than working in a convenience store. She's a bit croaky as she smokes, and she occasionally slips out for a cigarette. It doesn't matter particularly on a few occasions when there's people around this early. Some area managers or something were in picking about the store. Paul later told me he hates all of them. I think that he may have had some say in Paul getting, or not getting, as it turned out, a promotion. Paul said he knew him back at school and he's a two-faced bastard.
Nice.
I had little trouble getting through my shift, except at 11:30 when this guy was in a huff because I hadn't put through the right amount on the PayPoint machine. It was as much of a case of him not speaking clearly. I'm sure I couldn't hear him properly. Anyway, he was all bitchy about it. And that is the end of the month.
I think the highlight for me this month has been your creative insults.
Yeah. I wonder if the patio's finished.
No, you would have said. You 100% would have said.
It seems like I've worked on it for like
it's pretty much
3
the whole
of
month.
those 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And I've talked about it almost every day.
Yeah.
And I swear it's only about like 4x4.
Yeah. Well, this is at your mum's house now, right?
It's probably still there. Maybe it's been relayed.
Well, she got the extension, so it will have been.
Yeah. Lost Ollie.
That's sad.
Sadness.
You did actually apply for landscape positions. You did actually
3.
get a job.
One of them told me I had a shit portfolio.
Did they?
Yeah.
We haven't got to that bit yet.
No, they said you need a better set of images in there or something like that.
That's why you were putting the images in.
Yeah.
I think I must have missed that.
Got the job in Mills.
Although everyone that you work with is
I
not
reckon-
to your standards.
I reckon I've insulted
Everyone. Apart from girls that you find
90
attractive.
95% of everyone that's in there.
The only at your age in here, the only people that have value to you are people that you could potentially have sex with.
Yeah. And bludging still.
You are bludgeoning a lot.
Yeah. But
Because I'm sure the money you make from Mills is going to like contribute to your mum's household.
I'm already talking about
sure
going
of
on a
it.
holiday.
Yes.
And
I'm
I've been
sure
on
of
several
it.
nights out.
I'm sure of it.
On
I'm sure
her
you can give
coin.
your mum 50% of what you earn. I'm sure of it.
All right. Thank you for that. Another month down. We're in June.
Finally. How long's it been?
Like about 6 weeks. Probably more.
Yeah. It's very upsetting.
Uh-huh.
For our many fans. Many.
Plural.
Many. There's many of them.
Do you smell quiche?
I smell quiche.
An onion. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Badly Written Boy. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the like and subscribe button.